Hello and welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. Today we'll be doing the player ratings for Leicester City versus Liverpool. I have with me my co-host Zohair Khan. How are you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. Can't complain. Bit of a rough game week for United fans, but some great football overall, I gotta say.
Yeah, it's been a couple of tough game weeks for United fans, but even Liverpool fans as well. It's been very rough, but some great games as well, some great goals. But this game in particular, did it take you by surprise? Did you feel that Liverpool could have done better, especially leading the game for most of the period, and then suddenly in the last 15 minutes, everything changing?
Yeah, I mean, before this game week even started, I had predicted this to end up as a 2-2 sort of result. But like you said, man, when I was watching the game, it really didn't look like Leicester had anything for Liverpool. Liverpool was pretty much, dominant throughout the game. They had Leicester's number. They were, going through their midfield pretty easily, and even even defensively, like that run that Salah kept on making through Soyuncu and Pereira was pretty solid, man. Like I didn't, just from how it was going for like the first half, the first 60 minutes, I didn't think that Leicester would be able to win this game. But honestly, Brendan Rodgers made a really smart decision to change the formation and play two at the front, and I think that's what made all the difference. And all the respect and credit to Leicester to pull out a 3-1 win.
Yeah, and the manner in which they did it, I think credit to them. Like, they stuck it out till the end and they didn't give up and they turned it around completely in the last 15 minutes. But yeah, you want to crack on with the player ratings? We go Leicester first and then Liverpool?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Let's go. So Kasper Schmeichel in goal.
Man, I love Kasper Schmeichel. He's always consistently good. He might not be spectacular, but he always knows what he's doing. Always makes the right decision. He had a couple of really good saves in this game. I know one of them was often offside, but still, the reflexes and the presence of mind to be there to make that sort of save. That's top drawer stuff. In terms of stopping Salah's shot, I feel like he couldn't have done anything. That was just Firmino set it up perfectly, and Salah just hit this beautiful placement on that shot. Nothing he could have done for that. Maybe could have been a bit tidier with his distribution, but to come away with a 3-1 win, it's not a bad day at the office for him. I'll give him a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10 for Schmeichel. And then moving on to the defense, Ricardo Pereira.
So for Pereira, man, I really like this guy, but he was playing, off the usual flank that he usually does. He wasn't playing on the left. He was playing on the right, and that's because of James Justin being out, Timothy Castagna being out. So just the way that Leicester ended up setting up, he ended up playing on that flank. I thought he did good. He had a pretty good game. Didn't get forward to the same effect that he usually does, but he also had his hands full, dealing with Liverpool's attack. So I'll give him a 7 out of 10 on that one.
7 out of 10 for Pereira. And then Kalker Soyuncu.
Man, Soyuncu was a major part of Leicester's backline last season. He had a bit of a rough start to the season, picked up a couple of injuries, and then with the way Wesley Fofana has been playing, it's been hard for him to get a sniff at the first team. This was a good game for him to come back into. He had a good performance. Obviously, there were a few shaky moments, but I think overall he did a pretty good job. He was, just like I said, a couple of worrisome moments. He had, a tough time dealing with Salah. But other than that, he did a pretty good job. I give him a 7 out of 10 as well.
Yeah, I think he's a relaxed guy, but sometimes he gets too relaxed. It's that kind of guy. He gets caught out in that, I think. But
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and then moving on, Johnny Evans, former United player.
Johnny Evans is the rock of this Leicester backline.
Would you take him right now in United?
Take him back at United? Are you kidding me? Yeah, man. Honestly, he didn't put a foot wrong all game. Handled everything in the air. He's like a vacuum, man. Keeps on making all these important interceptions. Unlucky to get a yellow, but definitely the leader of Leicester's backline. And I think it's very important for him to make that jump, especially with Wes Morgan, essentially being retired in all but name. So I'll give Johnny Evans a 7.5 out of 10.
7.5 out of 10 for Johnny Evans. And then moving on to Daniel Amartey.
So I think Amartey was the weak link in the Leicester backline. Kind of makes sense. He hasn't been playing all that much. Just got a chance to come in. Could he have done better? Yeah, he absolutely could have. But again, he was dealing with Mane and Robertson, which is a pretty heavy combo to deal with. He ended up second best quite a few times. But again, with the injuries that they have, they need more out of him, especially in these coming game weeks with the way they are in the table. They can really make a good run for second, and they definitely need to, seal off top 4. I'll give him a 6 out of 10.
A 6 out of 10 for Amartey. And then moving on to the midfield, Tielemans.
So you know me, I'm a big Tielemans fan. I love the way that he plays. I think he brings a really good all-round game to Leicester. He's got a great range of passing. He's not necessarily the quickest, but he does add, quite a bit of bite in the midfield as well. I thought he was great today. He was a constant nuisance to Liverpool with the crossfield balls that he was playing to Harvey Barnes, playing in, Jamie Vardy as well. Did a really good job. Given a bit of a rough time by Liverpool's midfield, but I think he acquitted himself pretty well. I'll give Tielemans a 7.5.
7.5 for Tielemans. Fair enough. Wilfred Ndidi, nice assist for the third goal.
Oh, beautiful assist for the third goal. And indeed, he was the player of the match for me. I thought he had a wonderful, wonderful game. He had a lot to deal with in terms of the way Liverpool's midfield is set up and the way they were performing, especially in the first, I'd say, 2/3 of the game. But he did what he does, man. He disrupted. He did, but more importantly, more than his usual defensive work, it was how well he was getting forward and the opportunities that he was creating getting forward. To create 3 chances and to bag an assist for essentially what's a center defensive midfielder, I thought was a phenomenal performance. So I got to give him an 8.5 out of 10.
8.5 out of 10 for NDD. Yep. And then you want to go Harvey Barnes first, or you want to go Albrighton?
Let's go Albrighton, man.
Yeah, Albrighton. Let's go.
I don't know, man. Albrighton for me, he was the weak man in this Leicester midfield. I thought that he had a really tough time. Again, he's on that same flank dealing with Mane and Robertson, so it's a lot to ask. But you got to step up in these sorts of games, and I felt like he didn't. He was loose with his passing. He didn't, really contribute much in the attacking sense either. I got to give him a 6 out of 10 for that performance.
Yeah, I mean, he has that potential, but it's frustrating that he can't live up to it consistently.
That's it.
Moving on to Harvey Barnes, beautiful finish in the end. He's becoming the find of the season for Leicester in a way.
Yeah, I mean, he's really, elevated his game this season. I think it's really important because Leicester needed someone else to, shoulder some of the burden alongside Jamie Vardy. Obviously, you have Maddison that contributes goals from midfield, does a lot of setup play, but you also need someone else in the front line. Iheanacho wasn't doing it. You needed someone to step up, and Harvey Barnes has stepped up in a big, big way. Huge contribution in this game. If you think about it, he won the foul that led to the Maddison goal, and then just the way he ran past Kazan Ozbak and totally took Alison out of the equation. Beautiful performance by him. I'll give him an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10 for Harvey Barnes. Yep. And then Maddison, man, this guy's just having an amazing season since he's come back from injury. That free kick, it's his free kick, but Liverpool could have dealt better with that. But he'll take that goal, and his form just continues.
Absolutely, man. He's had a good return to the season, good return to form. I still feel he could be a little bit stronger on the ball. That's maybe somewhere that Jackie Grealish hasn't beat at this point in time. But he's a phenomenally skilled player, and Leicester is absolutely so much better whenever he plays, whenever he has a good game. Like I said, he bagged that free kick, whatever it is, it's going to count. Created a lot of problems for Leicester, especially for Liverpool, especially after the switch in formation. So I think a 7.5 is a pretty fair score for him.
7.5 out of 10 for Maddison. And then Jamie Vardy, he's back, scores the goal, hit the post as well. But you can just see the brilliance of the man, and he's always a threat, man.
Man, I don't understand what they're doing in Leicester's medical room, but he just had a hernia surgery and he's back, and he's already tearing opposition defenses apart. He's just so good at what he does. He might not have some of the other parts of his game that some of the elite strikers have, but Jamie Vardy is a player that knows exactly what he's about, and he knows that the talent that he has, if he plays to that, he's very, very difficult to handle. He almost had a worldie with that little dink that went over Alison, and Alison, must be thanking his lucky stars that it ended up, on top of the net as opposed to inside the net. Yeah. But he deserved the goal that he got. Yes, of course, it was a massive, massive Alison mistake, but still, he deserves it. I have him at an 8 out of 10 today.
8 out of 10. And then for the subs, I think not much time. So
it was just Ayoze Perez. He came on for a little bit, but he was pretty unlucky, man. He got subbed off.
Yeah,
got subbed off as well. I'll give him a 6 out of 10 just for the sake.
6 out of 10. Yeah, that's how I was he got subbed off as well. So I'm like, yeah. And then Brendan Rodgers, man, gets a win against his former team. Thoughts on his tactics?
Massive result for big man Brendan. And honestly, I thought that he's done a phenomenal job with Leicester all season to have them performing at the level that they are, to be in the position that they are. It is pretty much punching above their weight. Sure, there have been, the difficulties that other teams have faced, but he's definitely tried to make the most of it, and he deserves all the praise that he's getting. I think the standout moment for me was the switch in formation, switching from his standard 4-2-3-1 to go to a 4-4-2 diamond and play Barnes and Vardy up front. Just really overload that makeshift Liverpool back line. I think was a fantastic move on his part. So I'm going to go with an 8 out of 10 for my man Brendan.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think they saw a weakness there and he tried to exploit it, and that's exactly what happened. That wraps up Leicester City's ratings. You give Rodgers 8 out of 10, and now let's go with Liverpool. You ready? I'll rate.
I got you. So let's start with the man in the spotlight, the man that's been eating all the criticism as of late, Alison Becker.
Yeah, I'm like so surprised, man. Like, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are, but there was a meme if you saw Klopp telling him that, bro, I told you to carry us, not carry us. So, I mean, horror week, man. Like, it's just terrible. Like, again, the second goal, was it where he came out? I think that was a bad mistake. And when Van Dijk is not there, like, I'm not saying he's a goalkeeper, so his role is different, but like you need that presence. And I think in the beginning of the season he showed that, like, he can step up and, like, get those clean sheets. But now it's not about like the clean sheets. He's making mistakes, man, like proper like mistakes. And you wouldn't expect from a Liverpool champions team for their goalkeeper to make mistakes like that. So again, I probably give him 2 out of 10, man. Like I can't give him more than that. Like wow. I really can't. Yeah.
No, fair enough. I mean, absolutely. I agree with you that he needs to, like, in the absence of Van Dijk, he needs to be the one holding that back line together, especially with the fact that Fabinho is injured now as well. Fabinho was doing a pretty good job filling in at center back. Now you have 2 new center backs. You have Ozan Kabak and you have Ben White, who was injured. Ben Davies, who was injured. But someone's got to step up, and I feel that you're right in saying that he should be doing more for Liverpool in that sense. Moving on to the back line, let's go with Andy Robertson first.
Robertson, I think he's good defensively, but going forward he's a bit quiet. I don't know, and on the ball as well, he was losing position a bit. But I'd probably give him an average 5 out of 10. He could go less, but I think defensively he was still okay, even though they conceded 3 goals. I think he was okay, but 5 out of 10.
I think it's a little bit difficult to rate this back line, just because of the fact that for so much of the game they were doing well, and then they just got undone in the last 10 minutes. But you gotta rate them for the whole performance, right? Not just the first 80 minutes, not just the first 70 minutes.
Yeah.
Moving. So what did you give him? A 5 out of 10?
5 out of 10. Yeah.
5 out of 10 for Andy Robertson. Moving along to the stand-in center back and their captain, fantastic Jordan Henderson.
I think he was the better of the 2 center backs for sure. Man, he's just playing in the wrong position, and like I think was it the new signing Davis? He's injured as well? I don't know what it is, but
Ben Davies is injured.
Yeah. So unfortunate, man. He should be playing in the midfield. Henderson, I still think he did a decent job. But like people around him were making mistakes, so there's not much he could do. And if he's playing in the midfield, he'll be even better. So I'll give him a 6 out of 10. I think.
6 out of 10. That's fair. What about the new boy, Ozan Kabak?
Man, I'm just gonna give him an extra point because he's new, but I think I'll give him a 3.5, 4 out of 10. I think very poor, man. Like I could rate him less. I could give him a 3 or 2, but I think he was very poor and like he made quite a few mistakes, especially in the last 15 minutes.
I mean, I feel that the mistake that Alison made was not in any way Kabak's fault. I thought he was playing it right, and I thought Alison messed that one up. But yeah, fair enough. It was definitely a baptism by fire for him. So you're gonna go with a 4 out of 10 for him?
Yeah, I'll go 4 out of 10. And that's the thing with Alison. You know what I mean? Like, you have these inexperienced players. So if you concede like from their mistakes, I'll still, fair enough. But you're conceding from your own mistakes. And consistently. So that's the worrying part. It's just not one game. It's happened now. It happened like 2-3 times against City, and now it's happening against Leicester. So that's
definitely. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Moving on to last year's darling, not so much this year, Trent Alexander-Arnold.
He hit the bar, I think, with the free kick. Unlucky not to score. But apart from that, I think he recovered the ball well. Good tackles. I give him 6 out of 10. I think it wasn't a bad performance. But with these guys, when conceding, like they conceded 3 goals. But with these fullbacks, it wasn't about conceding even before. It was more about like going forward and attacking, and Van Dijk and those guys holding the fort. But now I think these two probably need to take a bit more responsibility, which Robertson is doing, but it's affecting his forward play. So I don't know what Klopp's going to do, but he needs to change that strategy, because without Van Dijk, that full back thing is not working either. So I think he had a decent game though, 6 out of 10, even though they conceded.
Yeah, he's definitely been, missing on the attacking end this season, especially after like the contributions he was able to make last season. Set a very high standard. So I don't know if this is more just him coming back to normal, or if he's just actually really experiencing a dip because of everything else that's going on with Liverpool. Good points raised over there. Moving on to the midfield, Curtis Jones.
I mean, no chances created. Like whenever he did pass, it didn't look like it was gonna be create a chance or anything like that. But I think poor performance. 4 out of 10. He got subbed off as well. Probably expected a bit more because he started off the season really well. So yeah, I think a poor performance by him. 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10 for Curtis Jones. Moving on to the deepest lying midfielder, almost Gini Wijnaldum.
Yeah, in the beginning, he was doing an amazing job. I think when that protecting that 1-0, he was doing a really good job defensively. But then, I just feel that he wasn't productive enough going forward. They could have created a bit more chances, and then he messed up as well. I think a couple of times for the goal. So I probably give him a 5 out of 10 average performance.
5 out of 10 from a man, Gini. Moving on to Benjamin Button, the man that doesn't get tired, the man that doesn't retire, James Milner.
He got off after 12 minutes, so I don't know. I won't give him anything. Let's give a not available kind of thing. I don't know how to rate him, man. It's just 12 minutes. I don't want to criticize him for getting injured. So yeah,
that's it. So we'll skip past James Milner, and instead of James Milner, let's go with the man behind Idea Football, Thiago Alcantara. What do you think about his performance in this game?
Yeah, his passing was decent, but I think Ndidi got the better of him, man. If I'm not mistaken, I think Ndidi outshone him.
Ndidi had him in his pocket.
Yeah, he had him in his pocket. He's still coming to terms. I think when Henderson comes into the midfield, it's going to help somebody like Thiago a lot. I think he's missing Henderson's presence, and he's just doesn't have that that Bruno effect right now. I think he is missing, and maybe it's because he doesn't have that partnership in midfield. But yeah,
I mean to that point, I just feel that he's a completely different type of player to the way that Bruno is. Thiago's always been someone that's more about dictating play in midfield as opposed to making contributions in the final third.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, he's definitely had a rough start to football in England for sure. Let's see how the season goes. And I think, if he doesn't kick on this season, the next season for sure, we're going to see a lot more from him, excuse me. Yeah. Moving on to the front line, let's talk about Sadio Mane.
Sadio Mane. Again, he had chances, but then he was poor in the final third. He didn't finish them. He didn't convert them. This is the story of their front line this season. They get into good positions. So, and that's a frustrating thing. If you're a Liverpool fan, even as a neutral, I'm looking at it, I'm like, yo, these guys are threatening, but then they're not finishing their chances. And this is happening all too often. And when you have a weak defensive line, you need these guys to step up. And it's not like we're asking, anybody's asking them to score 4 or 5 goals. It's just like a couple of goals here and there. And you're getting those chances. It's not like you're not creating. I mean, look at United. They're in a poor run of form, but they're still struggling to create. But these guys are not struggling to create. They're just not finishing the chances. So Mane, I'd give him a 5 out of 10. I think he should have done better in the final third.
5 out of 10 for Mane. Switching into the central striker role, Bobby Firmino. What did you think about his performance in this game?
I think
nice assist
was a banger, man. It was a brilliant assist. I think he actually played really well in attack. Again, the thing is, the role he's expected to play, he's doing that, right?
Right.
But yeah, if you just look at him solely as a striker in isolation, he's not scoring goals. So that's a kind of a thing. But I think he did his job. He played well. Beautiful assist. But yes, I can't. I wanted to give him an 8 for that assist, but I can't give him that much because of they didn't score. So I'll have to give him a 7.5. What do you think? 7 or 7.5?
I mean, just on the quality of the assist, I'd give him a 7.5. But I think a 7 is fair for his overall performance.
Yeah, let's go 7.5 because I was giving Salah a similar kind of thing. So let's give Firmino a bit higher. So 7.5 for Firmino.
7.5, and then to the man leading the Golden Boot this season so far, but has been looking off the boil in comparison to the highs he hit last season and the season before that, Mo Salah, the Egyptian king.
Man, he's quality. I just feel like he's an amazing player. But again, he scored the goal this time. He scored 1 goal, but
he scored a peach of a goal.
A beautiful goal. I give him credit for that. But that's the thing, maybe you need somebody like a Firmino, Mane to step up as well because this guy is scoring. You need the other guys to score as well. But he still gets into those positions. So Salah needs to be a bit more. Like I've always said this. He needs to be a bit more clinical.
He does. Yeah. He's just inefficient, man.
It's like this. He's scoring he's the top scorer, right? But if you look at the amount of chances Liverpool do create, you expect him to score even 10 extra goals. than he has right now.
Absolutely. Like if you want to look at the difference between him, like in previous seasons compared to this one, like he'd be banging 2 goals a game, 2 goals in a game like this, two goals, 3 goals in a game like this, with the chances that he's had. But this season he's only picking up one. His finishing really is, leaves a lot to be desired at this point in time. I think.
And credit to him, he gets into those positions, right? As much as his team and the way they play, it's also him. He gets into those positions, so credit to him. But when you're in those positions, you need to convert. And like I said about Mane, when your defensive line is in trouble right now, you need to take as many chances as you get, and they are getting chances. Sure. So that's the frustrating part. So I'll give him a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. I think that's fair for him. Moving on to the subs, if you want to talk about it, I think there was only one sub that came on with any time. That was the
Oxlade. Yeah, I mean, he came on later. He didn't really get forward. I think they were busy conceding goals when he came. So
that's it.
Yeah, so didn't do much. I won't be too harsh on him. I'll give him 5 out of 10. But yeah, kind of anonymous.
5 out of 10 for Oxlade-Chamberlain. And finally, your thoughts on the manager, Jurgen Klopp, been under a lot of pressure, personal and otherwise. Yeah. Thoughts about his performance and his setup for this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give him an extra point because he can't do anything with that Alison mistake. Like, that's an individual error. But still, I think, I don't know, like how he set up, that's how they set up. But I don't know what it is in the training ground. They'll have to work on, finishing. They'll need to work on working with this defense, come up with different plans, give Alison confidence. I think he needs to do more of like a man-to-man job with Alison and work on these players a bit mentally. I think they're tiring out as well. And they're not used to losing this amount of games. Last couple of years, they've been almost invincible. I shouldn't say this word if Don is here, but you know what I mean, right? They were on a high for the last 2 years.
They were, I think they really benefited from the fact that other teams were also in a state of flux, in a state of transition. Especially last year, if you look at it, City was having a really rough time. United was doing terribly. All the major teams all had a rough season last year, and the year before that. But now, if you look at it, City has come back to life. United's playing well. United's, kicked on from where they were last season. Leicester stepped up their game. A lot of the teams, Villa's doing much better. There's so many other teams that have played much better football this season round. And I think Liverpool's dip has come at the same time as those other teams stepping their game up, and it's really showing.
Yeah, no, 100%. It is showing. And of course, injuries add to it and everything like that. But at the same time, I think, that's what it is. You have to work on one-on-one. You have to look at the mental side of it as well, work on that as well. On the training ground, they need to come up with something different. I think they just need to figure out a way, to finish these chances. And then defensively, tactically, I think if this is not working, try something else. I don't know what they can try, but, he needs to figure something out, because otherwise it's going to be a very long season with the Champions League coming up as well.
That's it, man.
He's an amazing manager. I'm sure he'll come back. But for this game, I'll have to give him a 4 out of 10 because of the team's performance. And I felt, I don't know what the instructions were given out. Like I said, I can't blame him for some of the goals, especially the Alisson's mistake. But as a manager, you can't, when you're winning 1-0, conceding 3 goals, you can't give them too much praise as well.
No, I get you. Right? And I mean, at the end of it, right, it comes back to that once Brendan Rodgers made that switch, Liverpool and Klopp needed to have adjusted as well, and they didn't. So that responsibility rests with the manager. Nothing you can do about that. You have to call it like you see it, right?
And the most frustrating thing, of course, it's Alisson. After Alisson, I think with the chances they get in these circumstances, they have to finish, and that's what's not happening. And they'll have to work on that. So I don't know how he can do that, but he'll need to improve that as a manager.
Yeah, I hear you there. Any final thoughts on this game, man?
No, I think a great result for Leicester. That their top 4 push is on right now. I think credit to them. Without Vardy, they were getting results. Now with Vardy, they beat Liverpool. So Maddison stepped up. Tielemans, like you said, Harvey Barnes, they're looking really good. Liverpool, on the other hand, they're a quality side, but they can't keep going like this. They'll have to turn it around. Otherwise, top 4 will become a mission as well.
That's it. Right now, top 4 is not even guaranteed for them.
Yeah, I know this has been a topsy-turvy season, but the title race does look kind of over, even though I might have to eat my words at the end of the season. But right now it just looks like they have to challenge for top 4, and with Champions League in mind, they'll have to balance that as well. It's going to be tough, man, because they have injuries, and if you get more injuries during the Champions League, this and that, it's going to be difficult for them. So they'll have to work on it.
Sure.
But they have a quality manager, they have some quality players, so I'm sure they'll bounce back. But only time will tell.
Sounds good, man. Those are all valid points.
Yeah, bro. Thank you so much for joining me. Do you have any last thoughts?
No, man, I really enjoyed this game as a United fan. I like the way Leicester play. I like Brendan Rodgers. I've been hyping these guys up all season. And to see Liverpool get slapped around, I'm always down for that. So just a good result in an otherwise mediocre game week.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Just whenever, like, the other teams are losing, United fans can't enjoy it because they also mess up.
That's it.
You just want, and it's not even a loss; it's that draw which is irritating. So, like, yeah, let's see. I'll catch you for the rest of the games. Now the Champions League is coming as well, so enjoy that as well. More football to look forward to, and different
That's
types
it.
of. And for us, more importantly, Europa League. That's
it. Thursday nights is where it's at, man.
Yeah, Champions League is the league for men, and Europa League is the league for legends. Remember
That's
that.
it. All right, buddy. Take it easy.
Take care, man. Take care.